What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Awake and Sober Podcast, a podcast about life in recovery through Christ. Today, finding joy in a bad headspace.
Finding joy in a bad headspace. Sounds like fun.
It typically is. It can be.
Joy sounds a lot better than the bad headspace.
Yes,
That's for sure.
This is true. How's everybody doing? D, how are you doing?
I'm actually doing pretty good, really good, and I'll tell you why.
Woo! Tell us, D, tell us.
I'll tell you why today. So I spoke with my sponsor yesterday, and we were talking about, how we have to be teachable at all times, remain teachable. And I think I'm going through this phase right now where I'm in some kind of training by God, without a doubt. I know this may sound kind of weird, but for every bad thing that's come my way, something good's come. And I think it's, I'm being trained on how do I take each individual thing and what do I make out of it? You know what I'm saying? Even if I have bad things coming at me, there's still the joy that I have, and I'm able to project the joy even through the bad stuff, which today's, topic's going to be really good.
Fitting.
So, yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Good job, D.
We're gonna dive deeper into that.
Yeah.
About remaining teachable or
All of it.
Joy.
yeah, joy. Joy sounds a lot more fun, but
Joy.
remaining teachable is good.
Michael?
Life is good, man. Did a little bit of remodeling at work this week. Didn't make my meeting yesterday because I was hunting. Had a good hunt yesterday, opening day of duck season.
I was wondering what he was hunting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Quack, quack, quack.
duck bites. Look out, they're coming.
So good.
Well,
Yeah.
we're waiting.
You just hold your horses. But no, man. Honestly, life is good. This week was good. Had a few days where I was really, really overstimulated or overwhelmed at a sense, and it was a daily practice of being mindful and being grateful of what I have, because, and I'll talk about it a little later, but I have such high expectations, not only, basically just for myself. And when I don't meet my own expectations, that's when I get down in the dumps.
Mhm.
So yeah. Other than that, though, life is good.
Good.
How you doing, Jay?
I'm good. Everything's good. I too was overstimulated with stuff yesterday. We had a big event at work, and it was about 230-something people, I think, that ended up showing up. So
In that bad of weather, 230 people, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
yeah. So, but it was good. It was really good to see some of those old faces and just kind of have fellowship with everybody. So, and then I got to share part of my story. Amy got to share hers, which was the first time we've ever had to do that at an alumni event, which was really cool. So, yeah.
You're an alumni.
I am.
Did you guys get to share it together or just like one right after another, or how'd that?
Yeah, I shared first and then she went after. So, and we had a lot of families there too, so that was good for them to hear that Al-Anon perspective, and then my mom, which was really cool. I invited my mom last minute, and she came up, so it was really cool for her to see Amy and I in our element of working, and then also see recovery from a different point of view, because she's in recovery. She's been in Al-Anon for 4 years, and so being able to see that and kind of where it all starts, I think was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's important for families to see it. Wish I could have been up there, but I was enjoying my time at home.
Hey, I don't blame you. Perfect weather for it. How are you?
How am I? Man, I'll tell you what a great week. Today at church, we had to redo a video for the launch of Celebrate Recovery. And so today at church, they played that. And to hear everybody hooping and hollering, I mean, I expected it at the first service, right? Because most of the CR people were there. And I went back up for the second service while they played it and talked about the informational meeting that we're going to have next Sunday after service. And to hear everybody just hooting and hollering, and it's well received. It's been needed there, and it is well received. Just the way they talked about it today.
Right. I had to say, like I shared, it was the first time I seen an approach like that from the church
Right.
to Celebrate Recovery, as other churches I've seen, and that was like it was better, but a whole different scene than what I'm used to from church.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and you should have seen the second service. That's what I'm saying. You thought the first service was something.
yeah.
The second service was even better, man. So that just fills my heart. I know we're getting ready to start when we're going to launch it. Launch training in November, like late November, and we'll actually have an opening for our Celebrate Recovery after training beginning of February. So, man, what an exciting time. The building's coming along well. We have epoxy ordered for the floors.
Sweet.
They're supposed to come and start putting up walls and painting this upcoming week. So, moving right along. I don't know how it goes after that.
I don't either.
So,
That's why we keep our options open.
Thanks,
your,
Derek.
keep your options open, huh?
We do have a sponsor for our show now, though, right?
We do. I haven't seen the link from them, but I'll tell you what he did do. He came back into town. We placed the order on Friday for our pins and that we could show and advertise. And they already went in the mail. They'll be here Tuesday.
When you sent that picture, I was like, dude, I was with you when you sent the order.
Yes.
Like half an hour later, you said, I got him. What?
Well, the nice thing is they make enough pins, right? And so since we didn't order special materials, all he has to do is really do the clips.
Mm-hmm.
And so the engraving on that looked awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped to see it, but we'll have a bunch that say Awake and Sober and with the Reclaiming Hope logo. But I'm really looking forward to, and I don't know if you paid attention, I want to do a giveaway of one of them.
Yeah.
Put one of these in somebody's hands so that way they can see exactly how well they're built. A lifetime warranty, so you could pass it down from generation to generation. And that's what they're made for. I just use them for writing, but I'll pass it down later.
Yeah, I'm not sharing mine right now.
No.
I ask you, and it's like pulling candy from a baby. It really is. Hey, can I borrow your pen? For what?
And how
need a
far are
pen,
you
man.
going with it? Because you're not taking it out of the room, out of my sight.
Oh, no. No, just literally, I need a signature. And where do you find those pens?
TactileTurn.com. You could go on there. They got left-handed orientation, so that way when it clips on there as you're writing, it fits where the left-handers go. And yeah, they got everything there. They're awesome.
Very cool. All right. Bad headspace, gentlemen.
You been one of them lately?
That sounds kind of depressing. I think I'm going to leave now. I don't want to be in a bad headspace.
There goes 25 viewers.
Sorry. Yes, yeah. Definition of a bad headspace refers to a state of mind characterized by negative thoughts, emotions, and overall mental distress.
A state of mind.
It can manifest as feelings of sadness, anxiety, overwhelming, or hopelessness. A bad headspace often affects one's ability to think clearly, make decisions, and experience joy or contentment. So when do you find yourself getting into that bad headspace personally? Derek?
I got stories to tell about bad headspace right now, man. And that's back to when we opened up and I'm talking about this training I'm going through. So I'm having to put my brother, my actual blood brother, into a treatment center. Get him some kind of help. And then I'm hearing that he doesn't want to go. So I'm upset. I get this information on Friday in the middle of work. And as you know, I work with a couple of you guys. You guys understand that some of these people that we work with can put you in a bad headspace as well. And being able to know the difference between what headspace you're supposed to be in at work and in outside life, and being able to control that and manage that has been a big thing for me this last week.
What do you
Makes
do?
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you get in that, you find yourself going to that bad headspace, how are you pulling yourself out of it? Or like, when do you notice it? Like, how deep are you into the bad headspace? You're like, oh, I'm going in a bad spot. Or do you just realize, like, can you see it happening before?
Okay, so there was a gentleman on the phone that was not supposed to be on the phone the other day. And I asked him to hang the phone up. He straight up, in a complete sentence, told me no. And I looked at him and I was like, dude, today's not the day. Because I had already just heard about I have a situation with my daughter right now as well. And I just heard that information, so I'm upset, and I go for a walk, try to clear my mind real quick because I'm at work. And then I had that situation. That's where I caught myself like, all right, I need to go away from everybody just for a moment, just enough to breathe, say talk to my higher power, Jesus, and just clear my head real quick. But that's the training I'm thinking. Like I said, I feel I'm going through where I'm getting to learn, where being able to notice those bad headspaces and remembering the joy that I'm supposed to be having for being able to do what I get to do and not to take it out on other people, not mixing work and life together type stuff.
And Mike, you said you felt yourself going a little overstimulated this week. Would you consider that like going to a bad headspace?
Yeah. I would say my bad headspaces now are completely different to when I was using or drinking. Now I feel very rushed, and I already have ADD, so it's really hard. You know, I'm constantly thinking about the very next thing, and there's times when I feel like I don't have enough time in the day to get everything done. And I even have people coming up to me while I'm doing this work, and they're like, "Can I help you? Can I do anything?" Or, "Hey, have you taken a break lately?" And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, "No," and no, I haven't taken a break because I want to get this thing done. One, I'm on a deadline because we had the event yesterday. And two, it's like I have expectations of how I want something to look, and by giving that off to somebody else, that takes away my control, which we talk about all the time, right?
Giving up that control.
Giving up, surrendering, and I have a hard time doing that. And I wanted to ask you, so you're going through these lessons. How long have you been sober?
5 years, over 5 years now.
And you're continuing to go through lessons
Yes.
day after day after day. I just want to make that known to the viewers. Just because you learn these lessons doesn't mean that you stop learning lessons every single day.
Right.
Or stop implementing these things every single day.
Yeah, you only do when you die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you ain't growing, you are dying. So continue to grow. But no, I feel like it's one of those things. They get easier to deal with, but that doesn't stop them from happening.
And it don't stop it from hurting or bothering you either.
Not at all. No, that's a very, very good point. I mean, and it could be, sometimes it's the slightest thing. You know, I'm having a bad day and somebody says the wrong thing or does the wrong thing, and it's just snap. Now, do I lash out at them? Typically, no, but I lash out inside my head. And we're talking about bad headspace. It's like, oh, I should have said this, 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 and this. It's like, well, if you did say those things, you're fired. So, you know. But no, and they get easier, but that does not stop them from happening. So, staying mindful and being in the moment and really just like taking that little walk and just stepping away and just breathing. I mean, I went and ate lunch and I got back and I just went right back to it. And it was, you need a break. So take that break.
One that's been a good help for me, especially at work, is leaving the offices and walking over to the White House. Just from the office to the White House to get to the nursing station and back seems to be just enough time. It's what I need.
For everybody who doesn't know, that's about 80 yards of walking.
Is it?
It
I
is
guess.
literally about 80 yards. So it's not a very long walk. I mean, you're walking in and you're walking back and you're breathing. So
It's
Yeah,
that moment,
fresh air.
It's that moment of fresh air.
sure.
And hey, nursing, you guys always got something nice to say, something, or corny, whatever it is. But it's definitely, worth the walk over there.
But it's also, I mean, think of the scenery out there where you're at.
It is beautiful.
That's like you're pulling on and there's serenity
Oh,
until
yeah.
you walk inside the building. I mean, when I think of serenity, I go there. I go to that whole landscape. And that's not my kind of place, but it is when I'm in a bad headspace. I could go to something like that and think about, the beautiful pond and all the things that are there, really nothing there. That's what's so neat about it. And so God's creation will put you in a good headspace.
Yes.
It's funny you said that because yesterday that was my mom's first time on the campus.
Wow.
And so she's pulled. Really? Yeah, she's driven by like on the highway. And she pulled in and she was like, and it was a dark, gray, cold day yesterday, drizzly. And she's like, "This place is very peaceful." And I was like, "I know."
Just imagine pulling up on a beautiful sunny day.
I know.
Sunrise or sunset.
Well, because I
in that
usually get there
place,
so
yeah.
early in the morning that I'm there to see the sunrise, and it's just like, man, it's so beautiful. So beautiful.
We're blessed.
Yeah, that's serenity in its finest. That's why it's good to get somebody to go to a place like the aviary or anywhere where you could get away, and get out in the middle. There's a place in the Smoky Mountains that's phenomenal, and their views are.
Oh, yeah.
That just helps. I don't care what anybody says, man. Getting away and being able to get in a good headspace and being in a place that you love, it's going to help you get sober. It's going to help you retain the information that has been given to you.
That's a beautiful thing because we grew up in St. Charles County. So when I was looking at a place, the aviary, before I even worked there, I was a client and I was recommended it. And I was like, where the heck is this place? And I had driven by it 15, 20, 50 times on my way to my farm that used to be up there. And it's beautiful because it's just far enough away, but it's still close enough to where it's
You can still get the things in a reasonable amount of time.
exactly. So that's a beautiful thing. And yeah, blessed. It really is.
And we're 10 minutes from Amish country there. So you drive up to Bowling Green, and you've got stalls for the horses.
In Walmart.
In Walmart parking lot. So, yes.
Oh,
Pretty-
dude, I got to go to Bowling Green. I've not
Yeah,
been
you
up
do, you
there,
do. You
so-
need to check it out.
it's
It's-
wild.
Actually, that Walmart is pretty rock solid, actually. I'm not just saying that. It's a pretty rock solid Walmart. So
Walmart, you need to sponsor us. No.
no, we don't.
He said no.
I'm still trying to put this together where he said rock solid and Walmart in the same sentence. I don't think
That
I
might be
could
the
ever
first
figure
time.
that one out.
Might be the first time ever.
It's never happened
It's
since
always
Walmart first
clean.
opened.
It's always very nice. Yeah.
So they don't take the horses inside.
No, they don't.
Okay.
They got the little shovels and buckets so they can clean up after their
They
horses.
give the horses oil changes on the side.
Okay. Well,
All
See,
right, so let's
see
back-
see where
Anyway.
things just went.
Change the tires.
Bad headspace.
so
Yeah.
it's I was sharing with Mike yesterday. Friday night, I had terrible sleep and I was having night terrors, and I haven't had those in well over a year and a half probably. And waking up sweating and everything that was going on, I was thinking about this as we were talking, and I'm like, Friday, you and I met for our standing cigar appointment. And we were talking about the selling of our house and how I'm not trying to get stressed out about it and all this other stuff. And something that's stressful because our house still hasn't sold and we are potentially buying another house just 5 days from now. And it's like, what's going to happen? You know? So I guess, inside, I'm probably stressed and getting in that bad headspace. Maybe that was my dreams coming out. I don't know.
I would say you would have to almost be in a bad headspace.
Yeah.
I mean, that stress would be unbelievable, no matter what we're trying to tell ourselves. So what are some of those things that people could be aware of that will lead us to a bad headspace? Stressful situation, selling a house?
Yeah.
Big
Trauma.
time. Trauma.
Trauma.
Loss of a person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I would say just even what you went through, the chance of losing a person, what we just went out and experienced with your brother.
Yeah.
You know, we went out there because one of them passed away, and now you have another one that just got hit with Narcan from a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she didn't administer the Narcan. I'm sure an adult did, but she's the one that found him on the floor. And when you show up and they're like acting like it's no big deal, that could lead you to a bad. I mean, that's what led to the topic.
Right. And I mean, lucky enough for me, thank you for your training and that you have given me. I was able to handle it, properly and stuff. You even
Yeah, you
congratulated
did.
me on my emotions and the way I handled myself with the situation. Because, dude, I wanted to smack the tar out of him right there on the spot. What's your end game? Knocking you out.
Putting you to sleepy sleep.
Right? I mean, seriously, dude. I wanted to pop him.
I will say I'm proud of you the way you handled it, because if it had been my brother, I probably would have smacked him. I'm trying to tell you to always keep it down and under control, and I'm just thinking, man, I would snap this dude's neck if he was my brother.
Right.
Without a doubt, man. But I just remember, being with you and learning from you, and first thought came to my head, hey, let's go get a bite to eat.
Yeah,
'Cause that's what it seems like everything starts to happen is when we go get a bite to eat
yeah,
and make sure everybody's in the right headspace.
I like food.
yeah. So we went and fed, went down, had some chicken, and
Yeah,
started putting things in order. Chicken's always good to have.
chicken's good.
Comfort food.
Yeah, same with that chicken pot pie Jeremy brought me.
Stick to your bones.
That
That
thing
was-
weighs like 4 pounds, man.
Yeah, dude,
I'm not kidding.
I ate half of it.
I'm telling you.
I did
Next time
really,
you make it
but
to-
Oh, but you could.
I know better.
Is that what you had today?
That's what I had as soon as I came home from church. I'm like, baby, I need something to eat real quick. I got to throw something in my stomach. And I said, make me some kielbasa and potatoes. And she looked at me and I said, pot pie. That'll work better. Bring it.
Just
Kielbasa and potatoes.
Also, the other things that we could talk about were like work pressure, financial difficulties, and then the big one I think is unresolved emotional situations or issues. Like I said,
Unresolved issues.
yeah. So my like when I was drinking or using, I mean, even still now that I'm in recovery, it's if I don't deal with something, I'm going to remain in a bad headspace. Like we were talking last weekend. I had a bunch of stuff going on. You got a bunch of stuff going on, and we talked it out. Right now, let's say that we didn't. We would still be letting those
Oh, yeah.
resentments growing and growing and growing. But since we dealt with them, the last week has been it's been a good, we've been good, right? So unresolved emotional issues that you do not resolve will lead you to a bad headspace and keep you there.
Yeah. They always fester into something worse.
Always.
Always, always, always.
So what were we talking about? Stress at work. I got to bring this up because it really meant a lot to me, man.
Yeah.
I've shared it with you guys, but so you guys know our boss, and he's seems to be pretty, he's a solid guy, but he seems to be pretty strict and stuff like that. So when he walks into a room, I'm not going to lie, I get a little concerned. Am I going home today? Or, but usually if he has something to say to you, he doesn't say it in front of everybody, especially the clients. But he actually stopped me in the hallway in front of the clients yesterday during everything that's going on and thanked me for the work that I'm doing and was very appreciative of that. And it really, man, talking about going from a bad headspace of me worrying about losing a job to, feeling all right, I'm
Not gonna lose your
Dude, hey, when I started going to work thinking that I'm not gonna lose my job, I'm gonna start screwing up.
Okay.
If I keep on guard the fact that there's always a chance that I can do something to get me fired.
Well, there's always a chance, but I can't go into work thinking that, I can.
Yeah, that would put me in a bad headspace.
Well, see, it doesn't with me. It actually does because I'm not afraid of being fired. I just know that I can be. I'm not immortal at my job. I can be fired, and so I try to do the best I can and stuff. And so I admit I'm always concerned.
I guess if that works for you, man. That wouldn't work for me. So one thing I taught you, D, a long time ago when you worked for me, right? Praise in public, correct in private.
Yeah.
And at least he did it there. You should always praise people in public. Let others know. I mean, that's one of the greatest things that we could do to help bad headspaces, but keep us out of a bad headspace is feeding into people. Praise in public, correct in private.
Like I said, he shook my hand and everything. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I'm surprised he shook your hand. I thought he was a germaphobe, like Howie.
Really? I didn't.
No, I'm just playing.
Know.
I'm just playing, man.
No.
Thought he was like Howie.
Yeah. No.
Another causes negative self-talk. One of my worst ones, perfectionism. I mean, I talked about it just
That's
5
the
minutes
ADD.
ago. Yeah, it's I have to do it, and I have to do it right. And if it's not done right, not only am I going to be in a bad headspace, I'm going to put everybody else in a bad headspace because I'm going to be complaining about it. I should have done this better. I should have done this better. It's like, let it go,
Are you a perfectionist in some areas of your life and not in others?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. It's more like kind of what you said, praise in public, correct in
Private.
In public, perfectionist to a T. In private, I don't care. I just don't. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean like I'm sloppy. But it's just like if like at my home, it's like it's not perfect, but it's how I want it.
These directions are telling me to do A, B, C, and D, but I just want to do A and D.
Yeah.
That depends what it's on. I mean, like when
IKEA
editing
furniture?
and doing things, I will sit there for hours.
Yeah.
I mean, hours upon hours. But
And it
there's certain
shows.
things I just don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't care about it, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to it.
Right.
If I care about it, I mean, we are that way. We're addicts, right? All in, all out. So if I care, I'm all in. If I don't care, I'm all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So what is the impact of a bad headspace on your mental and emotional well-being?
Depression,
Ah,
anxiety,
Anxiety. Yeah.
sleep issues,
big time.
appetite, eating issues.
Yeah, I like to eat my feelings. You can kind of tell. And
How well do you sleep when you're in a bad headspace? Do you get like night terrors or something like that, maybe?
so, I mean, yeah, it's like if there's like a really stressful time, absolutely. I haven't had, and for people that night terrors, I just use using dreams. Those are my really, really bad ones, is when I'm using in my dreams and I wake up and I feel like I did something wrong and I feel dirty and nasty and ashamed and guilty. And a lot of times that will affect that entire day,
Mm-hmm.
But I have people I can talk to get out of that headspace.
Well, what's crazy to me is I honestly was, because I was short yesterday, real short.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't it wasn't until I told you at the coffee machine that I had it last night, and then everything just kind of, oh, like that light bulb moment. Like, why have I been acting this way all day? Because I've been short. Amy's like, why are you short today? I'm like, I don't know. But like, that's exactly why. You know, it was because of that. And then I was like, oh, and I'm also hungry. I need to eat. Because I hadn't ate all day.
I was hangry.
I was hangry. Halt, baby.
And it was crazy how quickly that turned around.
It was funny too because you even said, you go, hey Amy, I know I am short.
I know.
Regan, I know I am short. I had a terrible dream last night. I slept awful.
And I haven't eten yet.
And I haven't eaten yet.
Mm-hmm.
That is just good for most.
Yeah.
Just not eating. But how much does our relationship suffer when we're in a bad headspace? Like, do you take it out on Amy? I'll take it out on Christina.
Oh, I'll take it out. And it won't even be like me being like blatantly ignorant.
Right.
I'll be like just like brushing stuff off or passive aggressive or just not listening, not caring.
Which is blatantly doing it.
Yeah.
Because we know.
Yeah.
Even though we don't realize it in that moment, but we know better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, our relationships suffer, especially those closest to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One thing my wife learned in her Celebrate Recovery group that she attended all the time is when I do act a certain way, it's not me. She can call me out on it. She recognizes it before it goes too far. Before I get to the point where I'm actually taking it out on her, what's going on with you? Do you need to call somebody? I got Shane's number. I'll call him if you don't.
and she would.
She does.
There's a few wives that would do that.
Yeah.
Shane, he's done it again.
Oh yeah, well we know mine does that. That's well known on this podcast.
I don't think mine has your number yet, but get ready.
Well, we could drop a hint, man. We're going to have our wives on here pretty soon.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We are.
In a couple weeks, we'll have them coming on, probably right after this show drops. The following week, we'll have our wives on and sit down and have a little powwow.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because yesterday at the event, people were like, when are you going to have the girls on? I'm like, oh, you don't know, but we know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And then we'll bring yours on.
Not you, Derek.
As long as Heather will come on.
I mean, you are the girl of the show. But
You know what? Just because I'm the beardless wonder here does not mean.
no, that's Mike. We've already established that.
Yeah,
We're
he
brothers
has-
in this lack of facial hair, okay? You just leave us alone.
His is a
over
little
there.
bit better than what you did. You had like 6 hairs in like
Did I
3
not tell
weeks.
you it looked awful?
It was bad.
I said.
So you told him to shave it?
Dude, it was
No,
like
he
I
didn't.
looked at it the other day
was
and I was
bad.
like, okay, please.
But I did it as a point. I was like, I want you to see how bad this looks, so you never say this again.
like 3 whiskers.
you know
and
what?
I mean,
it
all
was-
over the place.
Oh, it was so awful. But he owes me $12. So
I
that's
do
cool.
owe him $12.
Here's the thing. You could end up growing one. You're just going to have to put some of that Miracle Grow on your face. They have it for beards.
Bro, if
Don't
you
worry.
have some, give me some, because I'm about to get hair transplant from my back of my head to my face.
It'll happen later.
It's beer club for men. You know, they just.
I use it. I use that stuff all the time to no avail. But no, we got the boot for the next episode coming out.
The boot.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be on it.
Oh.
You want to go do something else?
Oh my gosh.
Go get some chicken.
Let's go get need some comfort food up in
There
here.
you go.
Yeah, some chicken. I got chicken pot pie upstairs.
I was gonna say you could when you guys kick us off the show, you could bring some chicken pot pie down to shut us up.
Yeah, that will. Yeah.
We'll
Guys,
get
just go eat.
We'll get a camera that pans over to us or just mowing down.
They could run sound and
Yeah.
they could do all the tech stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So what are ways that you guys manage your bad headspace? I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but like how do you pull yourself out? I know for me it's like one of those like mindfulness things. You know, it's like if I'm going to that bad headspace, and especially like if Mike or Shane or Derek or Amy, if you're like, hey, what's going on with you? It's one of those, because I may not be mindfulness at the moment, like mindful about it, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, I am acting this way, and why am I acting this way? So how do I pull myself out of it?
I think we talked about it. What was it? Last week, a couple weeks ago? Accountability or responsibility of if I'm doing something that I know is not right or is not a benefit to the people that I love that are around me, I need to talk about it or I need to call myself out on it. That's a responsibility I have to myself. But at the same time, I have gentlemen in this room and I have a other support system that will call me out when I'm doing something and being like, what's going on? Because
Right.
you're not right.
Yeah.
You know? So it comes back to that accountability versus responsibility.
Yeah, seeking that trusted advisor seeking support from somebody, like accountability,
Mhm.
you know, and it is finding that person in your life that is going to call you on your BS. If I'm going to surround myself, and I know we talk about this ad infinitum, but if I surround myself with people who are going to tell me what I want to hear, then I'm not growing.
Yeah.
No yes men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, no yes
Yeah.
men.
Yes. Yes to that.
See, and my bad one is negative self talk. And so when I recognize that, it's like, oh man, here I go.
What does that look like for you, Shane? Like, what is negative self-talk in Shane Laswell's head?
You're a piece of trash. You're not worthy. You shouldn't be doing this. You're not good enough.
Okay.
That's what it looks like inside of my head. And I could tell you, man, I will beat myself up pretty bad. And so it takes a minute. I'm able to come back, journal, and that's my cure for all these things, going all the way down is journal. But I write way too much. I guess that's why I got to have a good tool like a tactile turn pen. But
There we go.
yeah,
That was good. That was good.
but it's
I like the way you did that.
that negative self-talk kills me. So I got to build myself up. You know, I got to trust that God has me in a position that He's wanted me in, that God has continued to grow me, that God has put certain people in my life to make sure that happens and I continue to grow. So that's mine. Ugh. It's the worst one.
Yeah, it stings talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm just beating myself up constantly. Like somebody will say something that I don't know, and I'll say it out loud. Oh, I'm slow. When in reality, I know I'm not. I'm just naive to the fact of what was going on. So I need to consciously say, no, I just didn't know. You know, it's not that I'm any different. I just didn't know. It's okay to get the proper knowledge and not feel like I'm less than because I didn't know said knowledge.
Yeah. I didn't like preaching. I didn't like getting up and speaking because we had two great speakers at our church, right? And I'm like, so why would I when I got these two? That would lead to that bad headspace because then I'd say, why am I doing this? Why am I even here? Because we have two that can just crush it. I mean, two dynamic speakers. You got one that wouldn't need a note at all. He memorizes everything. And you got one that's just a really good speaker. So then you just start walking down that path of that all that negative talk, self-talk, and yeah, it gets rough. But we got to remember, man, we are God's child. God has blessed each of us. God has gifted each of us to use those gifts. And I think all of us are using our gifts right now.
Amen.
One thing I'm very thankful for, you know, as we're talking about, when we get into that negative headspace and that negative self-talk, is you guys at work. You guys are always there if I need someone to talk to. No matter what it is, I could come in and just sit down and talk with you guys and get whatever it is off my chest. And you're not yes men to me, which works. And you just sort of, what can you do about it? Well, there's really nothing I can do about it. What are you whining about?
Didn't we just have that conversation last week?
I think, yeah, that's why I brought it up, you know, and I have it with Mike, you know, so it's
I think we had the similar conversations. Like, what can you do? Well, do what you can right now.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to talk earlier about the fear of the unknown putting us in a bad headspace.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Shane was talking about the speakers, also comparing myself to another person. So, like, say somebody's an incredible speaker, and you immediately, for me, a lot of times it's like, oh, I could do that better, or I could have done this, I could have done this better. It's like, well, how much grace is that giving to the other person that they're working that hard?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why would I take that away from them?
Mm-hmm.
So, fear of the unknown, and then comparisons.
Mike walks into my office several times a day. Just
Does
walks
he?
in. Yeah.
Just walks on there.
Yeah.
Usually every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll come in.
I get in my buggy.
Yeah.
And I come up. I said, "What's up, man?" Play with the dogs a little bit, and then get on with my day.
The only person I compare myself to is this guy, but then I think he's no comparison, so I just walk away, you know.
We talking about size or what?
For those that aren't
So
watching, I'm glaring into
correct
the soul.
behind closed doors, praised in public.
Exactly.
That was praise.
Exactly.
I know, kind of pulling this around, when I get into that negative self-talk, that bad headspace, it always, my go-to is always anger.
Yep.
Every single time.
And I would say that's what I was hoping that we'd go into was the bad headspace always leads to it, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And then we end up taking it out on everybody around us.
Mm-hmm.
Anger management is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's healthy and unhealthy anger. So you could express anger in a healthy way. You could flip tables.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Jesus did that, didn't he?
I believe so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I believe Jesus did that. So you could flip tables and have it still be healthy.
Well, if I flip this table right now, it may not be a good thing.
Well, you flip this table, we're losing the friggin' podcast. So let's not do that.
At least 2 cameras from
At least
it.
2 cameras. Well, 3
And a
probably.
microphone.
And a microphone.
And I just
2
got
cameras
this.
and a
microphone. That's where it's at.
That's crazy how that came back.
Not bad, not bad.
So
Thank you. Thank you very
what are
much.
some ways you can show anger in a healthy way?
Going
Might be easier
outside
to
and
say
screaming.
what are the unhealthy ways to show anger, and then everything else might be.
Punching holes in the wall is unhealthy.
Did that a lot.
Yeah.
Hitting people is unhealthy.
Yeah.
Didn't do that.
Well, it
much.
depends.
I got hit a lot.
Hitting somebody is unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
No depends to it.
Yeah.
It's unhealthy.
Yes.
Even if you want to break their legs off and beat them with it, it's still unhealthy.
What is it going to do?
I'm going to take your legs.
It's going to get you an assault charge. That's what it's going to
That's
do.
exactly what it's going to do.
And just make you more angry.
Like personally,
This is
me and Shane, we've talked about this because personal experiences. I've had a lot of anger at a certain someone that I haven't been able to. I can't do anything about it, and I have to practice active acceptance. Like karma's a bee, he'll get his. I can't be a part of that because that's not God's plan for me. So coming to terms with that is so hard because he's hurt someone that I love, and getting through that, I would not be able to do that alone. So I talked to Jeremy about it. I talked to Shane about it. Derek knows a little bit about it. And it's one of those things, it's like every ounce of me wants to do something, but every ounce of me knows that I can't. So I have to balance that on a daily basis, which is tough.
So all of us have a healthy way of dealing with anger if we'll use it, which is coming to another person, processing it, working through it, because that's what's going to get us out of that headspace. It's going to stop us from wanting to break their jaw, punch them, even if they did something to us that the world says, hey, you should do that because they deserve it. That's not what God says to do. And that's who we have to live by. We don't have to live by the world standards. We live by his standards. And lots of ways to do it unhealthy, though. But there's only a few ways of really healthy anger. One of those is processing it with somebody, processing all the way through it. Play that tape through, right?
Journaling about it helps out a lot. If I'm upset and I write it out, it gets out of my head and it's on that paper. It becomes, it's something I could know that I could share with somebody now, but just getting it out of me, away, helps out a lot.
So there's 2 for 2 on the things for journaling. You'll need a pen.
You'll
Need a pen, yes.
I cannot stress enough the power there is in that, right? I have an individual that I'm counseling now, and he's got a lot of childhood trauma from his father, and so, and it sounds simple. This individual hasn't talked to his father in almost 2 decades, and doesn't care, doesn't know, but there's a lot in there to unpack. And so I had him write a letter, and I gave him 1 week to write the letter, and he still hadn't completed it. I said, all right, I'll give you another week, because I know that him processing all of this was going to take a lot. And when I went into work a couple days ago, the letter was in an envelope on my door, and I opened it up because he's like, I just want you to read this. I couldn't get past the first page. I couldn't. And I mean, it's front to back, 6 pages, front and back. And I got through that, and I'm like, man, it just hurt for me what he had. And there is a lot of anger. And I was only on page 1, and there's a lot of anger in there. But his whole attitude has changed.
Yeah, you got that out.
Yeah.
The power of writing, and you should share that story every chance you get, because so many people do not understand the power of the pen.
Well, and Colby, my house manager, he was like, "Hey, this individual is lashing out. He's doing all this stuff." And I said, because he didn't know the whole process that's gone on over the last couple of weeks. And I said, "Look, this is what this individual has just gone through." And he's like, "Oh,
Is this what I helped Kobe with the other day?
Yeah.
yep,
All right. Makes sense now.
yeah."
Yeah.
So that guy had a lot of emotions that he had to let out that he hasn't let out in 30 something years, 35 years. So, but there is power in that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that I've worked with, that I've shared that with and has done it, has come to me and tell me thank you because it has helped.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't give you nothing that's not going to help. I'm just sharing with you what's worked for me. So
But I
I'm,
don't want to write, man.
yeah,
It hurts my hand cramps.
I'm not keeping no diary. I'm not no girl.
When I was running groups and everything like that, I would always say, the more you talk about it or the more you write it out, the less power that has over you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because in recovery, we don't do it alone. We do it all together, right? Well, how do I know how to deal with certain things if I've never dealt with them before, and two, I don't know how to express them. So the more I can write it out, the more I can talk about it, give it to somebody else's perspective so they can hand it back to me, the less power it's going to have over my mind.
Yeah, and see, I don't take 4 steps typed either. You got to handwrite the 4th step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do with it afterwards. That's your business, but you're going to handwrite that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because talking, it is one thing. I mean, it fires a lot of things in your brain, but nothing like writing. If you could get somebody to write, it'll change your life.
I remember when I did an impact statement, I typed it out because the first one I typed out because I'm a faster typer than I am a writer. And when I go, I just go. And I remember it was you and Christina. You're like, but that's not doing what we're trying to get to doing. Like, that's good you did it. I'm glad you did it. But you have to start connecting your hand to your brain to where
Yeah,
it starts.
because it slows you down.
Exactly. To where you can actually, be more specific as opposed to this happened, and then thus this happened. No, this happened because this happened because.
It slows you down. You have to think about the strokes of the pen,
Mhm.
slowing that brain down. Most people could type and not ever really think.
Yeah, and that's what I was.
And you
essentially
cannot
doing.
write
Yeah.
and not think. It just don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about anger and how people handle their anger. We had a gentleman yesterday. Nursing came to me and said, "Hey, this person's acting out, or just being some kind of way right now. Somebody needs to go talk to him." So I go and talk to him. He's like, "Leave me alone." Like, what's wrong? I don't want to talk to nobody. Why not? I'm not in a good mood. Why? He ends up telling me he ended up got a spat with another individual and was upset. And instead of handling it, he ran off and hid in the corner. And I asked him, "How does that work for your recovery? Does it?" "No." "Then why are you doing it?" "I don't know. He did this, and I'm letting this happen." It's like, you feel better? Actually, yeah. Okay, so from now on, before you go and run off in the corner and whine, come talk to me. And he was like, "I will." And he actually came out to talk to me. No more than we finished talking, the gentleman he had an issue with came up, apologized for what had happened, and amends were made right there on the spot. And it was just seeing it all in action, what we're talking about, and that all in action was really powerful yesterday. Yesterday was a great day altogether. I don't care who you are. You should have been there. It was fun.
I think when we deal with anger, we go back to our old ways of instant gratification. To where if I do this, I'm going to feel better about it. Well, how often when we do instant gratification do we feel better?
Mm-mm.
Oh, in that moment.
That
But,
instant gratification,
okay, so-
but afterwards, no.
Right, but then we have to deal with the shame and the guilt
Yeah.
of
Oh,
what
yeah.
we just did. So somebody cuts us, what do we want to do? We want to cut them deeper. How often does that ever? I've never seen it happen to where it actually comes to a happy ending. I mean, amends can be made, but I don't know. I think that's
It
something.
never turns out to anything good. Never.
No, it doesn't. So anytime that you feel like you do need to cut somebody because they cut you, and when I say this, I don't mean physically, I mean verbally or anything like that, or action, they do something to hurt you. Speak with somebody before you act.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that speak. It's going back to when you were a kid. If you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all, or literally speak or think before you speak.
Well, yeah, and I mean, in recovery, we say the stop technique, right? Stop, take a step back, observe, proceed with caution.
Yep.
And it's kind of like before I want to react to something, let's stop. You know, anger for me manifests itself, in a couple ways. A lot of my anger comes from, again, being a perfectionist in some areas of my life, and not so when something is done and I expect it in my mind to be done a certain way and it's not done that way, then I get angry. And so this all goes back to learning acceptance for me in the program. And then there's that anger that if you hurt my wife, if you hurt my daughter, if you hurt my son, that's a totally different kind of anger.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me, that's more of a healthy anger personally for me, is if like, look, that's how my protector mode. That's what God wants me to do. I left my mother and father and I married my wife, and she is the most important thing in my life right now. So you don't mess with her, period. Does that make sense?
I may back that. I may protect mine. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah.
I think your wife might have hers under control. She may not need- she
I
may
think mine
not
does
need-
too.
I guess that's what's messed up. If I step in,
She get mad at you.
then
Oh, yeah.
then you know stuff is
Yeah.
out of control, because otherwise I already know. I mean, she'll threaten to cut my toe off.
Yeah.
You heard it.
And I
got
think,
proof.
I know, you probably know. There's one person in this world that it makes me just driving mad, because it drives her mad. And if I could eliminate this person from our life, I would,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't. And so it's like, okay, I have to accept that the things are the way they are, and there's nothing I can do about them at this point. I have to seek strength from God, my higher power. I have to say, look, every single week there's an opportunity for me to practice patience and self-control with this individual.
Yeah.
Every single week.
And it sucks because you'll be tied to that individual for quite some time.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
As we're talking about that, though, I got to say an incident that happened that I seen your reaction that has helped me in my anger and my issues towards people. Somebody spoke out to your wife, and when I found out, I was gonna go. I'm like, no, this ain't. And I went to go say something to the person. When I got stopped. It's like, no, it's being handled. You don't need to go say nothing. It's like, all right. Get in the car with this guy to go give this guy a ride to the gas station to get him away from the property. And I ain't never seen. What was the first thing I said when he got out of the car and I sat back in there with you? How do you do that? How did you just do that? Dude just spoke out to your wife and you allowed that, and that just happened. How? And just what you shared. I can't remember exactly what you shared, but how you shared it, and let me know. You got to be able to learn when you let that stuff out, and it's helped me out a lot. So thank you on that one.
And I learned that from another individual in this room.
So it's funny. We learn from someone who's learned from
Learn from
someone who has
somebody.
learned from someone.
So one thing that helped me with my anger, if I spit on you, do I make you mad or wet?
Wet.
Do you make me?
Do I? If I
Both.
spit on you right now, do I make you mad or wet?
Both.
I could only make you wet. If you give me the power to make you mad, that's on you.
You
And
are
I will
wrong.
always try to take your power.
Yep.
And so do
100%.
we want to give our power away to somebody?
Nope.
Hell no.
Yeah.
But I wish we could always remember that. But the closer it is to us, the harder it is to not give up power.
Yeah.
The further away they are from us, the easier it is to hold on to our power. We have to learn that in all areas of our life. Is, look, you could only make me wet. I'm not going to allow you. I'm not going to give you the power over me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those things that the stupidest saying. Do I make you mad or wet? Once you start remembering that, you're like, yeah, beat it. I'm not giving you my power.
Right.
Sorry.
Made me mad and wet. Don't spit on me, bro. So finding joy in the midst of a bad headspace, recognizing and acknowledging negative emotions. And then I think discussing the importance of allowing ourselves to feel and process emotions.
Without judgment.
There you go.
Don't judge your judging as well.
Yes.
But I like judging.
Explain.
Okay, so let's say somebody spits on me, for lack of a better example, right?
All right.
Probably immediately I'm going to get mad, right? Because that's a reactionary thing. You get angry. Somebody cut me, did something to me. I want to do it to them, right? So let's go. I'm not going to do anything. First, I'm going to talk to somebody. Okay. Let's say I call Shane or I call Jeremy or I call you and I say, hey, this person did this and I'm feeling this way. Okay. Immediately following that, don't say I'm feeling this way because I'm this or because I'm that, right? Just say I'm feeling this way and give it to the other person. That way they can have perspective and bring it back to you, right? And then you say, okay, oh, I was being very judgmental of a person. That's judging the fact that you were judging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't judge the fact that you're being judgmental, especially to yourself. Just say, I felt this way, and don't say it's because of this. Just say these are the causal effects.
So you're saying don't say that I'm upset about the person, but I'm upset about what happened.
The action,
yes,
not the individual.
That's the way we teach people how to have healthy arguments, which I'm sure we're going to talk about with our wives when we bring them on next week. Is that fact is, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at what happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Even when I'm speaking of it and I'm speaking of my feelings, hey, when this happens, this is how it makes me feel. I say that to Christina, and Christina says that to me. When this happens, this is how I feel. Yeah, it's a great tool.
I statements.
I and me statements, not you and we.
My sponsor says something really great. He says, take the to me out of everything. Don't say this happened to me. Just say this happened. And the more you know, Jeff, the more you say stuff like that, the easier it is to let that go, because then that stuff go, excuse me, because the easier it is to let that stuff go, because you take it, you don't take ownership of it, right? You don't take ownership of what the person did to you. That person did that probably for a reason. Maybe not been a good reason, but it didn't happen to me. It just simply happened.
Well, that's when you know forgiveness has happened too. And we talked about that a while back. When it just becomes a fact that happened, that's when I know I've forgiven. We need to take the people out of it, because the people have nothing to do with it. It's just a situation that I'm mad at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably mad because I'm hangry, or because I might be in a bad headspace. Something is going on, most likely why I'm mad at it in the first place. Mm-hmm. So let me just get mad at a situation, not a person.
Mm-hmm. And then try to rectify it as best as you possibly can.
Which is usually pretty easy once I take the person out of it.
Yes.
And once I take me out of it, it becomes really easy.
Listen up, folks. Take yourself out of it.
Yeah. It's hard advice, but once you start doing it and you do it and you keep practicing it, it becomes easier. And then each time you're like, why? I'm not going to sit in that next time as long. And it becomes shorter and shorter times that you keep sitting in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was reading, excuse me. I was reading something this past, it was last week or whatever it was, but studying for my test that I'm about to take. And then I kind of went down this rabbit hole of, is this true or not? Which obviously it's in a science-based book, so I'm guessing it's true. But I discovered that the area that gratitude comes from is the exact same place that anxiety comes from. So the area of your brain where anxiety stems from is also where gratitude stems from. You can't be anxious and grateful at the same time.
Why not?
That's actually really cool. I didn't know that.
Why not?
That makes sense.
It kind of goes with the saying, you can't feel pain and pleasure at the same time.
There's pain and pleasure. There's pleasure and pain.
I was about to say there's pleasure and pain.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people that say that.
Oh, that feels so bad. No, that doesn't happen. Thought I'd throw a little comic.
I love the delete button.
Comic relief there. Like it stinks so good. What?
Yeah. No, but I mean, I was just thinking, how do we keep ourselves, like, what's a safety net we could put in place to keep ourselves from getting angry? Being grateful. Having an attitude of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wrote a gratitude list today at church.
Did you?
Yeah, we were listening to one of the songs during praise, and I just sat down and just started writing. But I only put one thing, and I just kept writing of why I was grateful for it. So, yeah, I love a good gratitude list.
Do you ever sing in church?
No. No, I was singing the first song I sung Part of the second, but during part of the second is where I sat down and just started writing. Why do I need to sing?
No, I was just asking.
So my heart is singing to God when I'm writing. And what's funny is I'm writing and I can't even see my paper, and I can read it when I'm done. Either I write way too much to be able to do that,
Yes.
or it's just going to God.
Yes.
So
Yes. 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 And yes.
Yes.
It's-
Yes.
it's the weirdest thing in the world, because I get done, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to read this at all. And then I look at it, I'm like, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I stay in the lines better when it's dark than when it's light.
I love that. We talked earlier, and I want to end on one thing. I want to end on, or at least start wrapping it up. But we said that anger and is a state of mind. And I remember back a few months ago, I was teaching a group, and I always said, where do we come from? And my answer I was looking for was typically chaos, right? When we're using or drinking, or we're emotional, we're coming from a chaotic state of mind, right? Well, what is our goal? Peace and serenity, correct? That's not a destination. That is also a state of mind. Well, how do we get from point A to point B? And I started asking him, I said, well, what do you think what are the tools you can use to get from point A to point B in state of mind purposes? And they said, well, talking to a therapist, going to groups, having a sponsor, working the steps, doing all these other things. And I said, okay, so you're telling me that if I go from chaos, I do these things, I'm going to wind up at peace and serenity? Well, peace and serenity is not the destination. It's a state of mind. So if I do all of these things, I will constantly be in a peaceful and serene state of mind.
It's a good way to do it.
I shocked myself when I came up with that on the spot too. I was like, oh, all right.
See, I think this podcast is helping this dude out.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this stuff last week
I
that he
know.
came up with. I mean, it's coming up with some things. You're using that bonk for good.
Bonk.
Bonk.
Bonk,
Please
bonk.
put like a Batman bonk thing.
Oh, I got a big bonk. Don't worry. I just put that thing on there. It depends if you're headbutting them or what you're doing. I got you, brother. I got you always.
This definitely brings back, the clinical side of things that I used to be doing a lot more. And, I'm grateful for it. So,
Yeah, and I think what you were I like what you said. This is a journey, not a destination. Your recovery that you're this recovery that you're embarking on, whether it be from substances or codependency or bad relationships or food or gambling or sex, it doesn't matter. But there is joy in this journey, and give yourself some grace. I mean, we have several years of sobriety between the four of us, and none of us are perfect. We never will be. But it's recognizing these things and then sharing, except for you, Derek.
Recognize it.
It's sharing our experience, strength, and hope with you guys, and realizing, guys and gals, that this is, we're speaking from the heart, and this stuff works because it's worked for, like Derek always says, it worked for somebody else. I said yesterday at when I was talking, this isn't my recovery. This isn't your recovery. It's the plan. It's the plan for a reason. Celebrate Recovery is set up this way for a reason. AA is set up this way for a reason. This is the way that we do it. And somebody else has done it before me, and somebody else has done it before them, and that's the way it works.
And somebody's going to do it well after us.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't see any of these programs stopping
Yeah, I
anytime
don't
soon.
either.
They change
Not
way
at
too
all.
many lives.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. We didn't start them and we didn't finish them.
Nope.
So we just came to work them, to be guided and to also guide some people. So what are some other things that we could do to make sure we experience joy? Experience joy in our lives instead of the pain and sorrow that we've been doing.
Working the steps brings joy. Because a lot of times when I'm sharing with my clients that, what are you really angry about? Are you really angry that person stopped in front of you in the aisle at Walmart? Or is there something else bothering you? Well, I don't know. Well, that's where the fourth step comes in, I feel. When we start working the steps and we start realizing these different things and these character defects that are coming at us, we can start working on those. And if we don't have character defects, the best thing to replace it with, to me, is a little bit of joy. You know, it builds.
Well, replace it with the character asset, which
Asset.
will lead us to joy. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah,
A defect with an asset, then we'll experience the joy.
those are the
without a
words I
doubt.
was looking for.
Self-compassion is for me. That's where I finally find my way to joy, because I down myself, I degrade myself so much with that negative talk that I have to find a way to have some positive self-talk about myself. And I know it might sound weird. People think I'm cocky and arrogant, but it's my coping mechanism. It's the way that I protect myself. And so then I got to realize God has equipped me, and I got to trust in him and not me. And when I do that, that brings me joy.
The more I realize that it's progress, not perfection, is where a lot of the growth comes from. Because I'm the same way. No one can beat me down any more than I beat myself down.
Amen.
No one can hate me any more than I already hate myself. So when I constantly say, okay, it's a process. It's all a process, and there is no destination. The journey is the destination. Take
It's
my
a journey,
time.
yeah.
Take my time. Give myself some grace. Love myself as much as God loves me, and give that out to the world.
Love yourself as you love your neighbor
Wow.
instead of the
Y'all
other way.
think I'm just
If go on, the first words you ever said to me, not really ever said to me, but you're just like, you wanted agnostic on the show, let me know.
I did.
And now you just seen the growth in you, since you've been
That's what happens when you experience joy.
pump it up.
Used to be a lot closer to God, and I'm finding my way back. So
There you go.
Yeah, he never went anywhere.
no, I did.
He's still in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy that journey. I thought Jeremy was going to say
I
something.
thought he was too.
No, no.
I was sitting there looking at him. I'm like, all right, is Jeremy going to say something? Find some hobbies that you enjoy doing.
Yeah,
Disc golf, pickleball.
with other people that want
Yeah.
the same thing that you do.
Well, that's the whole thing. I don't really go play disc golf alone. I grab somebody.
Yeah.
Got to take a new person out to experience disc golf for their first time this week. And man, what a joy it was, right? Pickleball, I have a blast doing that. I can't believe, well, I'm old. It's an old person sport. It's really not. You see young people out there. It wears you out, don't it, D?
Yeah.
That little bitty court will wear you out.
Yeah.
But it's such joy doing that with other people. So find some things that you're really interested in, some good hobbies that you can do with other people, and go find some joy.
There's joy in gaming if you
Yes,
do it
there
right.
is. I might
There-
do a
yeah, there
little bit
can
of
be.
that today. I've fallen away from that again. So
Apparently, there's joy in duck hunting, but I've just never been able
You've never been invited?
invited. Yeah.
that is
Well, people don't like you.
such a
It's
lie.
like
And
They're afraid you'll miss the bird.
that is the biggest lie, because I have invited you multiple times. You just don't have the stuff to go.
didn't you just go duck hunting last season?
No, that was pheasant.
hunting.
Oh, whatever.
That's why I said he'll miss the bird.
Still bird.
I did. I was very excited. The first pheasant I ever saw in my entire life, and I was like, ah! Then I missed it. It's just standing there, and I missed it.
And he means it wasn't flying.
It wasn't flying.
on
It
the
was
ground.
literally standing there. Yeah, yeah. I caught it the second shot, though. There was no doubt about that. Yeah.
And then he was told to snap its neck because it wasn't all the way dead. And he just kept spinning.
I didn't know.
This thing won't die.
Oh, it was dead. Yeah.
He was spinning around. Oh, I got one.
Yeah, trigger alert for some people, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
So,
So, Mike, in closing, what do you have? Experience joy through anger, bad headspace.
I would say ride the wave, man. All your emotions are a wave. The more you,
Hang 10, man.
hang 10.
There you go.
Cowabunga, dude.
No, the more you realize that it is a wave and it too shall pass, the easier and the less time that those waves will occur. I think that's a beautiful thing.
And I think the whole, piggyback off that, not letting yourself get too high on that wave or too
Yeah,
low,
right.
and it's kind of just finding that middle and just kind of
Ride the pipe.
Catch, I was gonna say catch
Right.
the two,
Yeah,
right?
catch the two.
Ride
Yeah.
that pipe.
Embrace the chaos. Understand that there's going to be times that are harder than others, but keep moving forward. You'll be all right.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
D.
One thing I want to share with everybody is I find joy in remaining teachable. As long as I'm teachable, I'm joyful because I'm learning more, I'm building more, and so stay teachable.
So can I call you out?
Go right ahead.
it's not a bad thing, but you weren't for a while.
Oh no, of course not.
You were very
very good little-
close-minded for a while.
right.
Then all of a sudden, this light bulb went off, and he came back to being teachable, and he has just grown since. That's what I meant by call you out. I'm gonna praise you in public.
Mm-hmm.
I'll correct you behind that closed door, maybe. Nah, I don't have to worry about it.
No.
You do a pretty good job, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Jeremy, scripture.
Yeah.
I know it's that time.
Proverbs 17:22. A joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones.
Mm.
And then I know we hit this one several times, but it's so apropos. James 1, 2, and 3. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. It's the journey.
It is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
We know as long as we look to God, God has us.
Amen.
I would say, man, look, stay on it. Find you some hobbies. Find you some people that you could count on in your life. Because I don't know where I'd be without the men sitting in this room and an amazing bride. I mean, she is as crazy as she may be. She's the right level crazy for me.
That's right.
So, hey, you guys have a good week. God bless you guys, and we will see you soon.
Make sure you
Like,
like,
share,
share, and subscribe.
We're on every
Excellent.
podcast platform. Like, share, subscribe. TactileTurn.com. Check out the pens.
Awake and sober.
Yeah, go get you one.
Yes. See you, everybody.
Peace.